So to begin today's video, we actually pick up in Wakanda. Now, right off the bat, we are reminded that Storm is still married to T'Challa at this point in Marvel Comics, which means that she is still the queen of Wakanda at this point in Marvel Comics. But either way though, T'Challa is not with her, and the reason why because he had left for a special meeting. Now, we are going to learn what was that special meeting about, but for right now, he is not here. And so right now you have Storm greeting the people of Wakanda. And really at this point in Marvel Comics, Wakanda loves T'Challa. They love Storm. They love everything about their relationship. Especially they love T'Challa the most. Their king, their protector of their country. But either way though, while you have Storm about to talk to the crowd of people in Wakanda, well, that is the moment you have the people realize that Black Panther Jet is about to come into Wakanda, meaning that he is back from his special meeting. The problem is though, he's coming in way too fast. And with them coming in way too fast, of course, that means his jet is about to crash into the city of Wakanda. Well, one of the main cities of Wakanda. But either way, though, you do have Storm try to use her powers as a way to slow down the jet and hopefully to redirect it so that it won't crash into a bunch of innocent people who are just here to see T'Challa and Storm together once again. But either way, though, even though Storm was able to slow the jet down, it still crashes into the city. Yes, some lives were saved, but now the big question is, though, what is wrong with T'Challa? Because he came in way too fast on his jet. He should have known how to land the jet properly. And so when you have Storm and some of the royal guards of Wakanda go to see what happened inside the jet, they come to find T'Challa badly injured. And also, you have one of his guards, Doorwar, tell Storm that it was a trap, and they did not even stand a chance. And so now the big question is, what happened at that meeting? And so we do jump back 5 hours ago as a way for us to learn what happened to T'Challa. Where did he go? What kind of meeting was this? Because again, no one knew about this meeting except T'Challa himself. He just left Wakanda to go on this mission. And so with that being said, we do jump back 5 hours ago to learn who did he meet up with. And the person he met up with is Namor. Now, this is huge because at this point in Marvel Comics, Namor and Black Panther, they were not at war. Matter of fact, they had high level of respect for one another because both their nations are strong. Their nations usually do not need any kind of support at all. And so with that being said, it's kind of like two kings coming together to talk about something very important. And when I tell you what it's about, you're going to see why this story takes place in a particular era of Marvel Comics. But before we are able to actually learn about what that meeting was about, we do jump back over to the present day in Wakanda. And the only reason why is to show how everyone is worried. Not just Storm, but T'Challa's stepmother, Ramonda. Also, you have Shuri also worried about her brother. And so right now you have everyone just trying to figure out what happened to T'Challa? What led to this? What could have possibly got him so badly injured? What happened at that meeting? What was the meeting possibly about? Now, we do jump back to that meeting. And when we do, we actually get the chance to learn what was that meeting all about. And you have Namor tell us it's about Norman Osborn. Because at this point in Marvel Comics, Norman Osborn had taken over S.H.I.E.L.D., got rid of S.H.I.E.L.D., and replaced it with his own organization known as Hammer, because he proved to America and the government that apparently he was the best choice to protect America. And so with that being said, he was put in charge to protect America. He even formed his own Avengers team, better known as the Dark Avengers, to just show the world that he was serious about protecting America. Now, we all knew he had some master plan to basically take over the country, but either way, though, you have Namor telling Black Panther that Norman Osborn formed another group besides the Dark Avengers, the Cabal. And the Cabal was filled with anti-heroes and villains. So villains like Doctor Doom, the Hood, and anti-heroes like Namor and Emma Frost. But with that being said, it's Namor asking Black Panther to join because Namor truly believes that with the Cabal, things are going to change across the world, starting with America with Norman Osborn, but then other countries down the road. And so it's Namor saying, listen, T'Challa, I have high level of respect for you. Your nation is strong, but I want you to join us to protect your nation because things are going to pop off very soon. If you're not with us, you're against us. Now, you do have Black Panther really tell Namor, well, guess what? I'm not joining. I did not join the Illuminati. And so why would I join you guys? Yes, you may be a very strong king, but you're in the wrong group. So I'm going to leave and I'm out of here. Now, we do jump back into the present day. And when we do, it gives us the chance to learn how badly injured is T'Challa? Like, how bad is it? And so you have the doctor say, it's serious. We're at a point where he could possibly die. It's touch and go. We're doing everything we can to keep him alive, but he could die at any moment. And so right now, we're just doing the best we can do to keep him alive. And so that is very serious. But that is the moment you have another council member come in and say, listen, we need to have the conversation. And that right there is huge enough. What is the conversation? And of course, the conversation is about who should be the Black Panther. Because at this point, it is T'Challa. But if T'Challa is badly injured, then our country does not have a Black Panther, which means that we need to decide who should replace him for the time being and become the next Black Panther. And right now, you actually have T'Challa's mother agree. We need somebody to be the Black Panther for our country. Now, we do jump back in the past once again as a way for us to learn what happened to T'Challa, because it seems like his meeting with Namor was very simple. It was very peaceful. He left without any kind of injuries. But that is the moment we come to find out as soon as Black Panther and his Dora Milajes walked out of the mansion that belonged to Namor, they were confronted by Doctor Doom. And remember, Namor said Norman Osborn has formed a cabal. In the cabal, there's Emma Frost, there is the Hood, there's also Namor, and there's also Doctor Doom. And so Namor was really hoping that Black Panther would technically join the cabal to protect his nation. But with him saying, no, I'm not going to join your group of people, it's Doctor Doom coming here and saying, all right, well, we asked you to join. We gave you an offer. You said no. And so now we must fight. Because Doctor Doom has goals for later videos down the road that we are going to do. But this is him just trying to remove T'Challa out of the way and possibly attack Wakanda. Now, we do jump into the second chapter of this storyline, where we pick up with Storm, Shuri, Shuri's mother, and the council that Black Panther usually have. Now, with that being said, you have all of them here right now talking about the meeting that Black Panther had. Because remember what I said earlier, no one knew about this meeting at all. This meeting was not known to everyone in the room, only to T'Challa and his Dora Milajes, and that is it. And so the question is right now, why didn't anyone else know about this meeting at all? And on top of that, why did he turn off his locator, meaning that no one was able to trace where he went to? And so that is a lot of questions just popping up left and right all at once. But either way, though, you do have the council remind Storm and Shuri's mother they need to decide who should be the next Black Panther. Now, with Storm being the queen of Wakanda at this point in Marvel Comics, she has the choice. She has to pick the next candidate to be the next Black Panther. And you have Storm say, Shuri. Shuri should be the next Black Panther. And she'll explain why she thinks Shuri should be the next Black Panther in a few moments. But for right now, it's Storm making a big decision. She says, I think Shuri, the sister to our king, should be the next Black Panther. Now, we do jump back in the past once again to see Black Panther fighting against Doctor Doom. And let me tell you, the fight is epic. It's big. I love it so much. The artwork, amazing. Either way, though, you do have Black Panther and his Dora Milajes fighting against Doctor Doom and his Doombots. Now, let me just say this real quick. The Dora Milajes are telling T'Challa they need to leave. They need to go ahead and escape right now because right now they're outnumbered. Doctor Doom is a lot to handle by himself, and now he has Doombots with him as well. Technically, the odds are in his favor, not Black Panther's favor. And so it's his guards telling him, we need to leave because if we don't, we could die, or you could die, or we all die. And we're trying to prevent that from happening. So we should go ahead and leave. Now, of course, T'Challa's like, no, we stay here and fight. We stay here and fight against Doctor Doom. Now, with that being said, though, you still have the Dora Milajes realize there's more and more Doombots coming. And with more and more of them coming, it's Black Panther realizing, okay, I messed up. We technically cannot stop Doctor Doom at all. Now, we do jump back over to Storm and the mother of Shuri, Ramonda. Now, this meeting right here is very important. And the reason why, because it is Storm telling us why Shuri should be the next Black Panther. Now, I do want to mention one thing. When Shuri first appeared in Marvel Comics, it was back in, I want to say 2005. I could be wrong. But at this point in Marvel Comics, she's still a new character. She's only been around for a couple years at this point, but it's Storm reminding us the origin of Shuri, how Shuri is the younger sister of T'Challa, but she went through the same kind of training that T'Challa did. The only reason why Black Panther, T'Challa became the Black Panther is because he was first in line. That is the only reason why. Meaning that if Shuri came first, she would have been the first person to become the Black Panther, not her brother. And that is what Storm had to tell Ramonda, that your daughter is very capable to be the next Black Panther because she had the same training as her brother. And so with that, is Storm telling us she is the perfect option to protect Wakanda. Now, going back in the past to basically learn how did Black Panther lose to Doctor Doom? Because we know he lost. We already know that. We saw what happened to him. He's badly injured in the present day. But we have to see how he lost the battle to Doctor Doom. And of course, when it's Doctor Doom, he's just that guy. I mean, he is one of the top 10 villains of all time in all comics because it's Doctor Doom. And so with his presence, it literally means doom. And when he appears, it means you better be on your A game because if you're not, you're out. You will be taken out. With that being said, that's what happens to T'Challa and Dora Milajes. Yes, Black Panther is a very skilled fighter, a very smart man, but he's not on Doctor Doom's level. And so with all that information being given to you, we know what happened. Doctor Doom won. He took out Black Panther. He took out most of Dora Milajes. One of them was able to get Black Panther back on the jet to escape to Wakanda because now her king is badly injured. But of course, it's Doctor Doom just standing there and he knows he won. He knows that he easily won because it is Doctor Doom. Now, getting back over to Storm, she's with her husband. She's watching her husband in the present day fighting for his life because there's a point he could just die overnight. He could die right now in front of her eyes. And so it's her praying for a miracle that her husband actually pulls through. She's just waiting for that moment. Now, you do have the mother of Shuri, Ramonda, come to Storm and tell her, listen, there is a way to save his life. There is a way. But to save his life, you basically have to go to see somebody. And that somebody has a way to help him stay alive, to bring him back from the brink of death. But this person, let me tell you, what he's going to do is considered very dangerous. And it's Storm saying she'll do anything to save her husband. That is what she wants to do so badly. Now things are about to get very worse for Wakanda because we do pick up with the random temple. In this temple, there are some people right now who realize that Wakanda is weak. The Black Panther is not there. And with that, they want to bring a certain creature into the picture. And this creature could most likely attack Wakanda and win for them. And so it's them saying, let's begin the process to bring in someone very powerful, Morlan. Now, we do pick up with Black Panther right now having flashbacks of his loss against Dr. Doom. And so he sees the last 3 moments that tells him when he had lost that battle against Dr. Doom. But with that being said, when he wakes back up, he realized he's not dead, nor is he alive right now. Right now, his soul, his spirit, it's in limbo. And that is the moment he is confronted by a spirit. And this spirit is telling him, hey, follow me. Because this spirit took the form of one of his Dormalages and telling him, it's time for you to go home with me. And it could mean to the world of the living or to the world of the dead. We have no idea yet. Now, we do pick up with Storm and the mother of Shuri meeting up with somebody who basically uses magic. Now, of course, magic is not outlawed in Wakanda, but is frowned upon, especially to T'Challa. But this person, and his name is Zavari, has the ability to use magic, and the magic he could use could save the life of T'Challa. Now, what he says to Storm is that right now, T'Challa's soul and spirit is in limbo between life and death. And what he is going to do is send Storm out into limbo as a way to guide Black Panther back into the world of the living. The problem is, though, this spell, this ritual, is very dangerous, and the world of the dead could just most likely pull both T'Challa and Storm, meaning that killing T'Challa, but also killing Storm on the way. And so you have Zavari telling Storm, this is a very dangerous spell, but if you want to do it to save your king, your husband, listen, those are things that could possibly happen to you when I send your mind and spirit into limbo. But for Storm, she does not care. She's trying to save her husband, bring her husband back to life, because right now, Wakanda needs its king. Now, we do pick up with Shuri, and right now, she's going through the test that she has to take to prove that she can be the next Black Panther. And so with that being said, it's her right now just going through the motions to prove to them that she is capable of being the next Black Panther. And of course, these tests, she took them before. And so right now, they're easy for her. Yes, she does mess up here and there, but of course, it happens. She's human. She's not going to be perfect, but these tests are still easy for her. Now remember, there was a temple full of spellcasters that have found out Wakanda is weak at the moment. They have no Black Panther, which means this is the perfect time to attack. And so with that being said, they brought in their great warrior, Morlan. Now, Morlan is a very interesting character, and originally he was a Spider-Man villain. But with that being said, though, for this storyline, he'll be a Black Panther villain. Now, Morlan usually goes after characters who have connection to an animal totem. So like, for example, Spider-Man powers are based off a spider. And for a short period of time, Marvel kind of said that Spider-Man powers are technically tied to the spider totem. And so right now with Morlan being here, it's Morlan going after T'Challa and possibly Shuri because they have the Phantom totem. They're connected to the Panther god. And so right now it's Morlan about to go to Wakanda to feed off the Black Panthers, because that is how he lives. He feeds off the energy of people who are connected to animal totems. Now, we do pick up with Shuri once again, continuing her tests to prove that she can be the next Black Panther. Now, she just finished climbing a mountain, but her next test is to gather a special herb. And this herb is right now being surrounded by 20 panthers. And so, of course, she must fight her way through those panthers to get that herb, because that herb is a way to prove that she can be the next Black Panther. And so you have her actually go to those panthers to get that herb. Now, getting back over to Black Panther, who's right now in limbo, he's confused what's happening right now because the spirit in front of him took the form of one of his Doorwar that had died. And so he's kind of like, you're dead. What's happening right now? And the spirit tells him, yeah, I'm dead. And so are you. Your injuries were so severe, there was no way you could possibly survive. And so this is me basically here right now to guide you into the world of the dead. You are dead. There's no way you are able to go back into the world of the living. And right now, it's Black Panther kind of thinking like, well, dang, I died. So this is my end. I basically follow the spirit into the world of the dead, and that is it for me. And so it seems like if Storm is not able to get to limbo in time, she could lose her husband to the spirit who's trying to take her husband into the world of the dead. But let's not forget, Storm is going through the ritual right now as a way to make sure that she can make her spirit and mind get in limbo in time to save her husband, to prevent her husband from going into the world of the dead. And right now, she could possibly not make it in time. She's trying to get there before he goes into the afterlife, but it seems most likely she's not going to make it. So right now, there's a lot of hope that she could make it to save her husband. But again, we have no idea yet. But getting back over to Shuri, right now, you have Shuri just going through the test, trying to sneak past the Panthers to get that herb, because that herb right there is going to prove that she can be the next Black Panther. But of course, as she is sneaking her way through, the Panthers wake up. And of course, that means she has to get out of there. She has to get the herb and leave, and possibly fight against some Panthers to get that herb so she can leave. And so you do get a few more pages of her trying to work her way around the Panthers, run away, get the herb and leave. But she was able to get the herb, which means that she had passed this part of the test. And so it means she could be capable to become the next Black Panther. But back in limbo right now, you have T'Challa walking away with the spirit that had taken the form of one of his Doorwar. And it seems like he might go into the afterlife. Storm might not be able to make it in time to save her husband. This could be the end of T'Challa. But that is the moment you have T'Challa realize he does not want to go into the afterlife. He wants to stay in the world of the living. And so it's him right now just trying to stay alive, fighting to stay alive. And so, man, that song came in my head by DJ Khaled saying alive. But anyways, it's him trying to stay alive right now. But that is the moment you have the spirit change form, and it changed into a reaper. But this reaper is actually Death herself. Yes, Death. The person that Thanos and Deadpool have tried to please over the years is here right now. And Death is trying to pull in Black Panther into the afterlife. But of course, he is trying to fight against her now. Now we do pick up with Man-Ape. Now Man-Ape is one of those old classic Black Panther villains. He has been around for so many years. But either way, this right here is his first death in Marvel Comics. The reason why I said first death is because he died twice so far in Marvel Comics over the last kind of like 15 years. But either way though, you do pick up with Man-Ape right now very happy. He's celebrating because he just got word that right now Wakanda is weak. They have no Black Panther. He wants to go attack. But before he is able to go attack, well, that is the moment he gets attacked, and he is attacked by Morlan. Because remember, when it comes to Morlan, he feeds off people who have connection to an animal spirit, an animal god. And so he's right now attacking Man-Ape because it seems like Man-Ape could most likely have a connection to the ape god. But either way though, Man-Ape gets murdered by Morlan right here and there. And Morlan is going to continue his path of destruction towards Wakanda to feed off the Panther god right now, which is T'Challa and about to be Shuri as well. Now, the reason why that information is so important is because the advisor of Man-Ape was able to escape and run over to Wakanda. And right now, it's the advisor telling the Council of T'Challa what is coming to Wakanda right now. You need to prepare yourself because Morlan is very dangerous. He is very serious, and he's on his way right now to Wakanda to feed off the people who have a connection to the Panther god. And right now, it's just T'Challa, but very soon, Shuri is about to have a connection to the Panther god as well. But of course, when Morlan appears, he brings destruction. And so right now, it's the advisor telling them, you better get ready. Because if you're not, Wakanda is about to get wiped out completely. Now, back in Limbo right now, you have Death really trying her best to convince Black Panther to go ahead and follow her to the afterlife. He died. His injuries were too severe for him to keep going. And so she's trying her best to convince him. But it's Black Panther kind of like, no, I don't want to go. I want to stay here in the world of the living. But of course, she's kind of like, dude, no, you're coming here. It's your time. But you know what? If I can't convince you, I know who can. And that is the moment she brings in the spirit of T'Challa's father, hoping that his father could be able to convince Black Panther to go ahead and follow Death into the afterlife. Now, we do pick up with the leader of the council, and right now, he's very angry because right now he knows what's coming to Wakanda, and right now Wakanda does not have their Black Panther, and Shuri is still going through her test at the moment, and so he believes that Storm should be the one in charge to protect Wakanda, and so when he goes find Storm and Ramonda, Storm is knocked out because right now Storm is going through the ritual right now to send her mind and spirit into limbo to basically save T'Challa's life. And so for the leader of the council, he's kind of like, what are you doing? First off, we have no king right now. Now we have no queen. Secondly, right now, you know your son does not like the idea of using dark magic at all. There's a reason why we have turned our back on dark magic. But you have Ramonda say, right now, at this point, this is all we have to basically save T'Challa's life. And so if Storm can do that, then we should use the dark magic. Now, with that being said, though, you do have him say, you don't realize what's coming. We have nobody to protect us. The people think their king is already dead. And so with all that happening, somebody has to address the nation. Who is going to do that? And you have Ramonda say, I'll do it. I will address the nation if I have to. Because right now the king and the queen are both gone, which means I'm next in line. Now here comes Shuri's next test. She must eat the herb that she got from her last test. And the reason why, because the herb is going to transfer her mind and spirit into another plane of existence, where she'll have the ability to communicate with the Panther God. And the Panther God is going to decide if Shuri can be the next Black Panther or not. That's so important right there. Now, you do have Shuri being able to meet the Panther God, but when she does, you have the Panther God walk up to the spirit of Shuri, take a sniff of Shuri, and walk away. Now, that right there is very huge because you have Shuri wondering, why in the world did you walk away from me? Did I pass? Did I fail? And you have the Panther God tell her, oh no, you failed. You cannot be the next Panther God. And the reason why you cannot be the next Panther God is because you're not humble. because you believe that you are the daughter of a dead king, that you are a sister of a current king, that your mother is also a powerful figure in your country. Your sister-in-law is a powerful person because you passed the test originally to prove that you were capable of being the next Black Panther, that you're not humble of your skills. So why should I choose you? When I met the past kings and queens who became Black Panthers, they were humble about their skills. They didn't come here all cocky and everything like you are right now. And here you are, thinking that you should be the Black Panther for all the wrong reasons, but not for the right reasons. So no, you failed your test. You cannot be the next Black Panther. Now, getting back over to T'Challa, who's right now in limbo, he's talking to his father. And his father right now, well, the spirit of his father, is right now trying to convince him to go ahead, go into the afterlife, join me and your grandfather and your uncle and all the past dead kings. Come to us. You did your job. You did what you could do. But for T'Challa, he's like, no, I did not do enough for my nation. I failed them at the end. They need me right now. I need to go back. But of course, you have the spirit of T'Challa's father trying to convince him to go ahead and give up. But T'Challa will not do that. And that is the moment we come to find out this spirit of his father is just another trick of death, trying to convince T'Challa to go ahead and come into the afterlife. But of course, at the very last second, T'Challa gets some kind of support. And that support is Storm. Because remember, that ritual was being able to send her mind and spirit into limbo to convince her husband to help her husband fight his way back into the world of the living. And so she is here to help her husband get into the world of the living and not go into the afterlife. Now, getting into the 5th chapter of this book, we actually do pick up in Wakanda. And of course, we pick up with Morlan arriving in Wakanda. And this is very huge because remember, they have no Black Panther right now. T'Challa nor Shuri. On top of that, their queen Storm is also gone. So right now Wakanda is basically left defenseless against someone who cannot be easily stopped. And so we see that happen. They try to stop him. They shoot all different kinds of missiles at him. But no matter what, this man is able to just walk through the attacks like they're no big deal. And so with that, right now, Wakanda could possibly fall to Morlan. Now, getting back over to Storm and T'Challa, who's right now in limbo, they're basically fighting against the Death herself. Like Death is trying to bring in T'Challa, and now Death is trying to bring in Storm as well. Because remember what they said earlier, Storm may go to limbo and try to save her husband, but she must be careful because the afterlife could possibly pull her as well with T'Challa. And so right now, she has to be careful. And so of course, you do have our two characters just try their best to fight against Death, so that they can go back into the world of the living. And they are actually able to do that. They're able to break away from Death and head back into the world of the living. Now, we do jump back over to Shuri, and she's waking up after meeting the Panther God. And when she wakes up, she is confronted by two members of T'Challa's council. Now, this right here is very important because you have her tell them that she failed. She tells them, I failed. The Panther God said, I'm not humble. I cannot be a Black Panther. But then you have one of the council members say, but did you really fail? Because you're alive. Usually when someone meets a Panther God and they fail, they die. But here you are right now, you're alive. You're alive and well. So did you really fail? That's the big question right now. And so you have her wonder, what does that mean? Why is she still alive? But then you have the leader of the council say, listen, we don't have any time right now to figure that out. Wakanda is being attacked. Wakanda needs a Black Panther right now. Now, we do have to jump back over to Limbo. And the reason why, because right now we pick up with Storm and T'Challa trying to leave. But Storm won't leave, but T'Challa can. And you have T'Challa confused like, Storm, why won't you come with me? And you have Storm say, there was one more thing about the ritual. One more thing. One soul can leave, but one soul cannot leave. Meaning that T'Challa can go, and she has to stay with death, or she can leave and T'Challa can go. And so right now it seems like they're about to have one of the hardest decisions in their marriage. Who can stay in the world of Limbo and who gets to leave? That right there is the big question. And right now they have to decide at this moment right here. Now, we do jump back over to Shuri, the council members of T'Challa, and also Ramonda, the mother of Shuri. And right now, they're having a conversation about what should they do to protect Wakanda? What can they do to protect Wakanda? What do they have left to protect Wakanda? And right now, they have nothing. And Ramonda had basically removed Storm off that board when she had sent her mind and soul into Limbo to save T'Challa. And so right now it's kind of like they have nothing left. Right now it seems like Wakanda could fail. On top of that, Shuri failed her test. The Panther God basically said, you cannot be the next Black Panther. But then she realized, wait a second. I came back to this world alive. The Panther God did not kill me. Usually, if you fail, you die. So why in the world, when I failed the test, I'm still alive? And that is when she realized the Panther God said no, right? She said no. But in reality, she left the choice in my hands, meaning that the Panther God said no, but the choice is still up to me to take up the mantle of Black Panther. That is why I'm still alive, and that is why I'm here right now. And so, with that being said, she tells her guards to watch her room. She needs a change, to get ready. And that is the moment we jump back over to Morlan. Because Morlan, he's in Wakanda. He's wreaking havoc. He's doing all the damage he can right now at the moment. And so with that being said, it's kind of like these guys, these guards, they don't stand a chance against Morlan. They're getting easily killed by him. But that is the moment we get our first look ever in Marvel Comics as Shuri being the next Black Panther. She walks out and she is ready to protect her nation from this man. She is ready to stop him before he is able to wipe out Wakanda. Now, we are going to basically wrap this story up very quickly here. And the reason why I say that is because in the last chapter, as we get into it, we do jump back and forth between two different settings. The first one is Shuri being the Black Panther for the first time and fighting against Morlan. In the second setting is Storm and T'Challa trying to find a way to get out of Limbo because only one soul can leave while the other one stays in Limbo. And so right now, the story does jump back and forth, but they are connected so much. And the reason why, because you have Shuri running away from Morlan. She's not trying to go toe to toe with him. She's trying to get him away to somewhere else. And the reason why, because Ramonda, her mother, Shuri's mother, and Shuri have made a plan as a way to get rid of Morlan. And what they did was they said if they're able to get Morlan into the same temple that Storm is in right now, they could use Morlan's soul as a way to bring back Storm as well. And so you have Shuri just running away from Morlan and having him follow her to the temple. And when they get there, you then have the same guy who basically put Storm's mind and soul in Limbo, put Morlan's soul and mind into Limbo. And so when that happens, you have death actually reconsider everything, because now she sees Morlan here, and Morlan had fed and killed so many people who were connected to different kinds of gods, spiders, apes, alligators, panthers, whatever. And so right now he's holding a lot of souls inside of him. And so Death says, okay, you know what? I'll take him instead. Storm, T'Challa, y'all can both leave, because this man right here is holding so many different kinds of souls inside his body that if I take him, he'll be able to replace both of your guys' souls. And so that is how you had Shuri being able to defeat Morlan, but to also save her sister-in-law and her brother as well. And so with that, the day is saved basically. Now, to wrap up this video, you do have everyone surrounding T'Challa because he's getting better. Everyone is happy. Wakanda live. Everything is going to be okay now, which is so great to say. But there is still one question left unanswered. Why did the Panther God let Shuri live? Why? Because remember, if you fail, you die. But Shuri did not die. She lived, but she was told she cannot be the next Panther God. So what happened? And that is when you have someone tell Shuri, think it through. The Panther God knew you had a test coming. And that test right there was you about to prove to her and everyone else what you could do, what kind of person you are, meaning that it knew that you could be the next Black Panther, but you had to hear from someone else what kind of person you are, so that you could think about yourself and think how you should be if you want to be the next Black Panther. And you proved that when you jumped in there to fight against Morlan, because you did not fight Morlan to prove your skills. You fought against Morlan to protect your people, your brother, your mother, your sister-in-law. That is why you're still alive, because the Panther God knew you could be the next Black Panther, and you are now the next Black Panther. And now you must protect Wakanda. And so with
Okay, so getting into the second volume of Black Panther Shuri, we actually do pick up with Shuri giving a powerful speech to the public of Wakanda. And the reason why, because this picks up a couple of days after the aftermath of the first volume, where basically Shuri became the Black Panther and she fought against Morlan, who came to Wakanda and he completely wrecked Wakanda. Not completely, but he did some good damage to Wakanda. But either way, though, it's her kind of giving a powerful speech to talk to the people, to tell the people, do not worry, we can rebuild from what we have lost. Our brother and sisters that we have lost would want us to move on, to rebuild Wakanda, to make Wakanda better. And I'm here standing with you to help you and for you to help me to make Wakanda better. And so it's really Shuri stepping into the Black Panther role while her brother T'Challa is healing up from his injuries from Dr. Doom and Namor. But then we see that on the news channels across Wakanda, you have people kind of talking about the idea of someone who is unexperienced stepping into the role of Black Panther. Because the Black Panther is the protector of Wakanda. It should be someone who's very experienced. Now, this is really more of the idea that people hate when women are put in charge, because with Shuri being in charge, instantly you have people having issues with her being in charge because they say that she is unexperienced. How in the world can we trust her to protect Wakanda, even though she just did protect Wakanda when Morlan came by and attacked Wakanda? But again, there are people out there kind of like, can we actually trust her? Like, she's not really experienced enough to be a Black Panther. But at the same time, it's kind of like when T'Challa became Black Panther, he was also unexperienced. But we all gave him a pass. So why not give Shuri a pass as well? Now we do pick up with Shuri again, except this time she is in America, because right now she's telling America that she is the new person in charge of Wakanda. And so with that being said, it's her announcing to America, but also to the world, that she is in charge of her home country, Wakanda. Now, with that being said, she is confronted by Everett Ross. Now, Ross has been around for a good period of time in Marvel Comics. And matter of fact, Black Panther knows a lot about him. But either way, apparently Everett Ross has been assigned to stay with Shuri to kind of spy on her. Because if she's going to be in America and tell America that she is the new leader of Wakanda, of course, America wants some intel on her, so why not send Everett Ross, who was originally close to T'Challa? But with all that being said right now, you basically have Shuri kind of tell Everett Ross that she is working on figuring out who attacked her brother. Now, we know who attacked him. It is Doctor Doom. And we all know that she possibly knows by now. But she's not going to tell Everett Ross anything at all, because Wakanda wants to keep that a secret and deal with this problem on their own. But that is the moment they do get attacked by some unknown villain. Now we do jump over to Wakanda, where we actually pick up with Black Panther right now working out in physical therapy. Now, of course, he's having a hard time walking because he's trying to push himself back into shape so that he can become the Black Panther once again. But all the doctors told him that it would take some time before he is able to walk again. But the Black Panther, T'Challa, he does not want to wait at all. Even when Storm tells him, listen, your legs are still weak, he remembers when Doctor Doom called him weak at the end of our last video. And so right now it's him kind of pushing himself to get back in that perfect shape once again, even when everyone's telling him to take it easy. Now, getting back over to America, where Shuri was just attacked in, we do see that she was attacked by some kinds of assassins. Now, the assassins do not have a name for themselves. They're just some assassins who were able to get cybernetic upgrade to kind of give them the edge when they're sent out on missions to kill people. But either way, right now, they're trying to kill Shuri. But Shuri, of course, being the main character of this book, but also a well-trained fighter, is able to actually defeat these guys after a few pages. But here comes the big question though. Who are these guys? Where did they come from? And why are they attacking Shuri? And do these guys have some kind of connection to Doctor Doom in some kind of weird way? Now, later on that day, you do have Shuri meeting up with her council, and with her council talking to one another, they're basically trying to figure out where did those assassins come from. Now, while they're talking to one another, you do have one of the members of her council tell Shuri that they realize that some of the tech, their jetpacks, came from Wakanda, because Wakanda air guards use the same kind of jetpacks as well. And so it's kind of like, okay, how in the world did these assassins get their hands on our jetpacks? On top of that, the rest of their tech came from Stark, aka Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. And so now it's kind of like there is some force out there that gave a bunch of assassins Wakanda tech and Tony Stark tech. And the big question is now, how in the world did they get their hands on those techs? That is the big question at the moment. Now, getting back over to Black Panther, or T'Challa, sorry, remember, he's trying to push himself back into shape. He's trying to get ready so that he can become the Black Panther once again, because the words of Doctor Doom echoes in his mind. He hates the idea of Doctor Doom being right. And so it's him right now trying to push himself back into top shape. And so we see him going to a hidden room. And in that hidden room is, of course, his best warriors, the Doorwar, the best warriors who usually fight alongside their king or queen. And so with that being said, he's going to use them as a way to train his body to get his body back into top shape once again. Now, when we get into the second chapter of this book, we actually pick up with Shuri still in America, right now in Wakanda's embassy, and she's talking to her council, trying to get some answers on who in the world attacked her. Where did those assassins come from? Now, they do know two things. The first thing is that part of the jetpacks that the assassins used was Wakanda's tech. On top of that, the weapons they used belong to Tony Stark. And so the big question is now, does Tony Stark have a hand in this attack? But of course, that gets played down real quickly because at this moment, Tony Stark and Stark Industries is going through a few things. And so you have her council tell her, no, Queen Shuri, there's no way that Tony Stark is behind this. It must be someone else. But that is the moment you have the leader of their council say, there is a third kind of a component, a third piece of their gear. And this third piece of this gear is neither Wakanda's tech or Tony Stark's tech. It belongs to a different group of people. And of course, that group is Atlantean, meaning that it came from Atlantis, which could mean Namor, who might have a hand in this. And this is huge because remember, in Volume 1, Black Panther originally met up with Namor, but when he was leaving the home of Namor, that was when he was attacked by Doctor Doom. And so now the big question is Namor working with Doctor Doom? Is Namor trying to get rid of Shuri as well, like he tried to get rid of T'Challa? Now, of course, with Shuri not being in Wakanda, you have the news channels in Wakanda beginning to talk bad about her because they're kind of like, Wakanda is rebuilding. Wakanda is going through a lot at the moment, and she's not here in our country actually helping out with the rebuilding. Right now, she's across the world in different countries, and to them, it seems like she's having a good old time. But in reality, she was just attacked. She's trying to figure out who in the world attacked her and how can she stop them. And so while you have these news channels kind of talking bad about her, she has to ignore it and continue to figure out who these assassins belong to. Who's trying to get rid of her and her brother? And could there be traitors in Wakanda working with these forces to get rid of her and her brother? But getting back over to Wakanda, you do have the doctors actually tell Ramonda and Storm to tell T'Challa to take it easy. And the reason why? Because he has lost his connection to the Panther God, meaning that he is just an ordinary man. Now, as soon as the doctor says he is just an ordinary man, Ramonda, the mother to Shuri, but the stepmother to T'Challa, gets very angry because she says her stepson is nothing like a regular person. He is not ordinary at all. He is on another complete level. And so for you to think that he would take it easy, you're crazy. And Storm realized, like, she knows her husband because they're married at this point, that her husband was not going to take it easy at all. He's going to try to push himself to get back in shape once again. Now, getting back over to Shuri, Shuri can't believe that the Atlantean tech that was found on the bodies of the assassins could have a connection to the stolen tech from Wakanda and the stolen tech from Tony Stark's place. And so it's kind of like, what in the world is going on? Because this is Shuri telling us that T'Challa still have not told her that he was meeting up with Namor back in Volume 1 video. On top of that, he has not told her that he was attacked by Doctor Doom. Because to her, she's kind of like, why is Atlantean tech being used alongside with Wakanda tech and Tony Stark tech? Is Namor behind this? It can't be, because at this point in Marvel Comics, Namor and Black Panther are close friends. And the reason why I say that's because, of course, Namor and Black Panther have not fought against each other like they will do in Avengers versus X-Men or in Jonathan Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers. And so they're good friends. And so to Shuri, she's kind of like, this makes no sense. But then her council tell her, well, listen, Queen, we need to send you to New Jersey because apparently a lot of data coming from there could give us an idea on what in the world is going on. Because when they were going through the different tech, they realized that this tech could have came from New Jersey by some kind of warehouse. And so it's Black Panther Shuri going over to that warehouse and hopefully to find a hard drive to gather information on who could be behind the attacks on her brother and her as well. Now, when Shuri does arrive in New Jersey to the warehouse and she begins the process of taking out all of the guards, also finding the main computer hard drive so that she'll be able to gather some kind of information from that hard drive, well, that is the moment she is confronted by another assassin. And this assassin name is Oyaku, and I really hope I pronounced that name correctly. But either way, Oyaku was sent here by the same people who sent those earlier assassins to kill Shuri. And so now the big question is, who is Oyaku working for? At the same time, what do they want? But either way, this does lead into a big battle between Oyaku and Shuri, and they do go back and forth for a good period of time. But of course, while they're fighting against each other, the forces behind all of these attacks recently is actually watching Shuri fight against Oyaku, and they're hoping that Oyaku will be able to actually defeat Shuri. But this is also the moment we come to find out this unknown force could be people who are traitors from Wakanda. They have broken away from Wakanda, and the reason why I say that is because the people behind the scenes who are watching Shuri fight against Oyaku, they begin to say that the new tech, the new weapons that Shuri is using came from one of their best people, and they know that person. And so these people are from Wakanda, and for some reason they broke away and began the process of betraying their old country to hopefully get rid of Shuri. But they say, listen, with the information she gathered, don't worry, that's going to lead her into another fight. And that fight is going to be against Namor. And Namor is a very powerful character. And the forces behind the scenes who are trying to kill off Shuri, they're hoping that with the information that Shuri has gathered will lead her to Namor, and Namor can go ahead and take care of Shuri for them so that they can go ahead and continue on with their plans. Because Namor is a very powerful and capable character. Now, getting back over to Shuri fighting against Oyaku, their battle does go on for a couple more pages, but that is the moment you have the Council of Shuri tell her some bad news, that right now more assassins are on their way, which means that Shuri must hurry up and leave before she is captured or killed by all of these assassins, including Oyaku as well. And so Shuri is able to escape. Now, to these assassins, they believe that they're going to get fired. But in reality, you have Oyaku say, no, we're not going to get fired. We did what we were hired to do, to keep her busy, to gather information about her. And so our mission is actually completed. Let's go ahead and leave now. Now, we do pick up with T'Challa right now meeting up with Doorwar, and I really hope I pronounced that name correctly. But Doorwar was the one in our last video to send Storm into Limbo as a way to retrieve the soul of T'Challa. Now, with all that being said, it is now T'Challa actually coming over to Doorwar, basically asking him for help to use magic to bring him back into top shape, because T'Challa still cannot wait. The words of Dr. Doom keep replaying in his mind over and over again. You are weak. You are not a strong king. It keeps replaying in his mind over and over again. And so basically it's T'Challa coming to Doorwar, basically asking him to use dark magic, something that T'Challa used to hate, as a way to bring him back into top shape. And actually, it seems like it's beginning to work on T'Challa. But getting back over to Wakanda, we basically see right now on the news channel, people are beginning to lose their trust in Shuri. And what I mean by that is, Two banks, the biggest banks in Wakanda, are closing down, and Shuri's not here to actually deal with that problem. She's still in America trying to figure out who attacked her and her brother in the last volume. And so right now, it's basically the people of Wakanda getting very upset because now Wakanda is losing their two biggest banks. And that means a lot of money is being lost now in Wakanda, and Shuri and the royal family are not helping out. No one has seen T'Challa, no one has seen Ramonda, Shuri's still in America, they sent in Storm, but Storm is no longer the queen of Wakanda because T'Challa has stepped down and Shuri has taken over as the queen and ruler of Wakanda. And so now the people are kind of like, you send in Storm, and Storm is a foreigner. She's not from Wakanda. We want answers. You should be here helping Wakanda rebuild after the attack of Mulan. But while the news are talking about this, we see Doctor Doom, the one who attacked T'Challa in our last video, also watching the news. But getting back over to Shuri in America, you have Shuri's team go through all the data that she has gathered from the hard drive from that warehouse in New Jersey. But with all the data, only one thing keeps popping up, a code name. The code name is Rex. Now you would think this code name could be very important, but at the same time, Namor used that name as a nickname, but sometimes a nickname for other things in the world that apparently makes him very angry. And so with that being said, it's kind of like, is Namor really behind this? Or is somebody out there actually using one of the names of Namor as a code name as they're working behind the scenes trying to get rid of Shuri and T'Challa? There are so many questions on the board right now, but of course, none of them have been answered yet at all. But getting back over to Wakanda, we actually do pick up with the news channel still talking about what happened to T'Challa in our last volume, how he was attacked by some unknown force. They have no idea it was Doctor Doom. And so with that being said, they want answers. They want to know what in the world is going on with the royal family and who attacked their former king T'Challa, who has stepped down. And while the news are talking about this, you have Namor also watching the news. And so it's Namor and Doctor Doom both watching the news reports coming out of Wakanda. And that is huge to say. But getting back over to Shuri, well, that is the moment you had the Council of Shuri tell Shuri some good news, that they were able to gather more information from the data that she had received from that warehouse in New Jersey. And what they have learned is that two people who used to be former military who would have access to Wakanda technology are right now here in America. And apparently their bank accounts were just hit with some very huge amount of money. And so with that being said, it's kind of like these two people who used to be living in Wakanda, used to be former military, who have access to that tech, and they just got a big payday, could give us some answers on who is doing this behind the scenes, trying to get rid of you and your brother. And so with that being said, that is the moment you have Shuri say she's going to go to Brooklyn to hopefully gather more information on the people who could be behind all of this and trying to get rid of her. But getting back over to T'Challa, who went to Zavari to eat those herbs, we do see that Black Panther is once again confronted by another kind of god. Now we are left to believe that this could be the Panther god, and it could be. It could be T'Challa coming back to the Panther god to rebuild the connection that he had lost. Because remember, the doctors did say that he has lost his connection to the Panther god, and it could be him going back to the Panther god to reconnect with the Panther god to be the Black Panther once again. Now, getting back to the members of this unknown organization that is trying to get rid of Shuri, well, that is the moment they begin to talk about the idea of Shuri fighting against Namor once again. Because with the data that Shuri has gathered and the code name that she had learned, Rex, which is an old code name Namor used to use for himself or people he does not like, it means that Shuri is on her way to fight against Namor very soon. And if Shuri dies by the hands of Namor, it's a win-win for this new evil organization. On top of that right there, if Shuri is able to actually get rid of Namor, it's still a win-win for this evil organization. And so right now it's kind of like whoever dies is still a win-win for this organization. And so the big question is now, what are they actually planning on to do? Now, you do have Shuri actually call in help, and this help is a perfect kind of help. And that help is Mr. Fantastic, the leader of the Fantastic Four. Because a lot of folks forget this, when Black Panther first appeared in Marvel Comics, it was Fantastic Four number 50, I want to say. But either way, the Fantastic Four and Black Panther, they have a very strong friendship. And Shuri knows that. And so it's Shuri calling up Mr. Fantastic to tell him some very bad news, that she had learned that apparently a lot of different things that had happened to her and her brother have some kind of connection to Namor. And of course, Namor is another character that the Fantastic Four have fought against alongside with, and also there's some love issues between Reed Richards, Sue Storm, and Namor as well. A very weird love triangle. And so it's Mr. Fantastic saying, wait, if you're saying Namor could possibly have a hand in the attacks on you and your brother, I need to know everything now. But getting back over to T'Challa, we see T'Challa waking up after meeting the Panther God. And we come to find out that apparently the test went well. He is okay, and apparently he's back in top shape once again, which could be a good thing because a lot of things are about to pop off very soon for Wakanda and T'Challa and Shuri. Now, getting back over to Wakanda, we actually see that Storm is on live television. And the reason why, because she's being interviewed by some reporters who want to know what in the world is going on with Shuri and T'Challa. Because banks are closing down, the market is crashing. There is a food shortage, a job shortage. Wakanda is going through a lot right now. And apparently Shuri nor T'Challa is actually helping out to protect Wakanda. Because this all is happening after Shuri gave that powerful speech at the very beginning of this video, where she basically say Wakanda is going to be rebuilt after the attack of Morlan. But where is Shuri? Where is T'Challa? The country is falling apart. They send in Storm as a way to kind of put a blanket over all the different problems. But of course, that blanket can't cover up all the problems and the distrust that is growing right now in the people towards their queen and king. Now, getting back over to Shuri, Shuri went into Brooklyn to hopefully go meet up with one of the two former military people from Wakanda who got a big paycheck. And so when she gets into Brooklyn and she finds that guy, she demands the guy to tell her why in the world is he attacking his old country? Why is he attacking her and her brother? And that is the moment he say, because I don't like you nor your family. Me and my people I work for or work with, we believe that you guys have brought a lot of disgrace to our country. You have ruined our country. You and your family, you and your brother especially, have changed Wakanda into something that he cannot stand to look at. And he's hoping to get rid of her and her brother to hopefully bring Wakanda into a new era. And of course, he says, you're not really a good Black Panther, because if you were, you would have not walked into this trap. And that is the moment he shows her that he has a bomb strapped to his chest, and of course, the bomb does go off. But before we are able to actually learn if Shuri is alive or dead, we do jump back over to Wakanda to see that T'Challa is continue to train to make sure that his body is back in top shape once again, so that he'll be able to take over the mantle of Black Panther to help his sister to bring down possibly Dr. Doom as well. And so it's him right now just continuing to train and get his body back in the top shape once again. But getting back over to Shuri, we do learn that Shuri is alive and well. And the reason why I say that's because, well, we see her being able to walk out of the building that just blew up. But that is the moment she is once again confronted by more assassins who are trying to get rid of her. And so it seems like no matter where she goes, she is always confronted by assassins who want to get rid of her and her brother. But getting into the 4th chapter of this book, we actually do pick up with Shuri fighting against all of the assassins that she has met so far. And this fight does go on for a few pages. So it is Shuri trying to fight against all these different assassins with all these different kind of tech and weapons they have on them. But of course, to have the story move forward, Shuri must win this fight. And so Shuri is able to take each and every single one of these guys out one by one. To the point, by the time we reach the end of this section, she won. She won the battle so easily. So now we can move forward with this storyline. But getting back over to Wakanda, we see that the people are continuing to lose their trust in Shuri, T'Challa, and Storm. The people are beginning to turn their back on the royal family, and that is huge to say. Now, the reason why I say that is because the news reports are saying that. The people are afraid that Wakanda is going to completely fall apart. There are too many problems going on in Wakanda, and the royal family are doing nothing to actually help out. And so all of this is too much for the people to continue on. Now, the new evil organization behind the scenes trying to get rid of Shuri, get rid of T'Challa, they're also the ones who are trying to make Wakanda fall apart so that the people will lose their trust in their kings and queens, the royal family. They're the ones who are able to have the banks closed down and have the food shortages and the job shortages. They're behind the scenes just pulling strings left and right. But this new evil organization is also working alongside with Doctor Doom. So yes, it's Doctor Doom plotting to do something big, and we have no idea what it is just yet. Now, picking back up with Storm, we actually do see Storm trying to use her powers, which does give her the ability to control the weather to hopefully bring in some rain to help the food grow in Wakanda. But here comes the big problem though. Storm begins to realize that something must be going on behind the scenes, because usually around this season, food grows easily, and food is not growing so easily, which means to Storm, this is unnatural. Somebody did this on purpose. Somebody is trying to prevent the food from growing. The big question is though, who? Who is doing this? And we know who. It's that new evil organization behind the scenes trying to cause problems for Wakanda, Shuri, and T'Challa. But getting back over to Shuri, you do have Shuri call into her council to tell her council that she is alive and well. But of course, she did hear a certain word, and this word is pronounced as Destori, and I really hope I pronounced that word correctly, but Destori is a very special word, and the reason why I say that is because one of the Doorwar explains to Shuri that she has heard that word before, and that word's meaning as well, because apparently this certain Doorwar had to leave when she got injured, and while she was walking around Africa doing different kinds of mercenary jobs, she met a lot of people. And that word came up, and those people who said that word were of course bad people. But this is the Doorwar telling Shuri that usually that word means that there is a group of people who want to go back into the old ways, meaning that they do not like the new ways, saying that Shuri and the royal family have basically ruined Wakanda, and Wakanda needs to go back to the old ways. And so that means more problems are to come down the road thanks to this certain group of people. Now, getting back over to T'Challa, we see T'Challa continuing to get his body back in the top shape, but to also find new ways to enhance his body because he knows that Doctor Doom is a very powerful villain, and because he lost to Doctor Doom and he wants to get revenge against Doctor Doom, he must be ready for Doctor Doom. And so right now, it's basically T'Challa pushing his body to new heights, taking on new kind of magic to hopefully bring his body to new heights so that he'll be able to actually fight against Doctor Doom. But the Dora Milajes who are with Black Panther T'Challa, they're trying to tell him that they are warriors. They have turned their back against magic. But this is T'Challa saying war has changed. Time has changed, and with things changing, the warriors must change. And with the warriors must change, warriors must use things they usually don't use. And that means for us, magic. We must use magic as a way to get revenge against Doctor Doom. Now, getting back over to Storm, Storm does get a call from Shuri, and it's Shuri checking up on Storm in Wakanda. And you have Storm tell her what she realized about the crops in Wakanda, that they're not growing, which is unnatural, that something is going on with the food, which means something's going on with a lot of different things in Wakanda behind the scenes. And we know that it's Doctor Doom and this new evil organization who are right now pulling strings behind the scenes to bring Wakanda down because they want to go back to the old ways of Wakanda. And apparently Doctor Doom must have promised them that he can take Wakanda back into the old ways. But then you have Storm tell Shuri that she has not talked to her husband in a very long time. T'Challa has been away, and we know that T'Challa has been away trying to get his body back in the top shape, and that worries Storm and Shuri as well. But of course, they must continue to push on. But of course, it seems like something big is about to happen into Wakanda. But getting back over to T'Challa, we see T'Challa continue to push his body to fighting against wizards who are attacking his body with magic. But of course, this is him trying to take his body to an all new kind of level, to make him stronger, to make him better, so that he'll be ready for Doctor Doom and the war to come down the road. And so this section really ends with T'Challa being able to reach an all new kind of power level. He is stronger and faster than he was originally, and that right there is very important. But getting back over to Shuri, we do see Shuri and her team continuing to go through the data that they have gathered over the last couple of days in America. But one of the piece of data that they have gathered is actually, and I repeat this, actually a piece of the black box from the jet that T'Challa had used to go meet up with Namor. And with that black box, of course, it recorded the conversations that were happening on the jet. Of course, T'Challa talking to his Dora Milajes. And so that is the moment you have Shuri learn that Black Panther was meeting up with Namor. And so now to Shuri, that means Namor was the one who had attacked Black Panther, but she does not know in reality it was Doctor Doom who attacked Black Panther after Black Panther had his meeting with Namor. But either way, is Shuri now going after Namor because she believes he was the one who attacked her brother, because her brother never told her what really went down in the last video. And so to wrap up the 4th chapter of this book, we see Shuri getting ready to go meet up with Namor, and she's on the call with Mr. Fantastic, and it's him telling her that he has been trying to call up Namor because Shuri has shared the same information that she had just learned with him. And of course, Namor is not answering Mr. Fantastic nor Shuri. And so this is Shuri saying that she is going to meet up with Namor to talk to him. If he refused to talk to her, she'll make sure that he does talk to her, meaning that if he ignores her, they're going to get in a big fight. And she has a new armor to basically fight against him to make him talk. And so now we're getting into the big battle between Namor and Shuri. Now, of course, when we get into the 5th chapter of this book, we actually do pick up with Shuri meeting up with Namor. Now, this is Shuri really believing that Namor had betrayed Black Panther, because at this point in Marvel Comics, T'Challa and Namor were like best buds. They were not at odds at all just yet until Avengers vs. X-Men. But this is Shuri saying, with all the information that she has gathered, the black box basically showing her that T'Challa was going to see Namor. Namor must have been the one who attacked T'Challa. Now, we know it was Doctor Doom because we saw it in our last video, but Shuri does not know that yet. But either way, you do have Shuri confront Namor, and she tells Namor that she knows that he was the one to betray her brother, that he's the one who attacked her brother. And so you have Namor kind of like, you are highly misinformed. There's no way I did that. I respect your brother. Your brother and I are close friends, close allies. Why in the world would I do that to your brother? And so he begins to walk away. And that was a mistake to Shuri, because to Shuri, she's kind of like, you're not just going to walk away from me after I just told you I know you're the one who attacked my brother. And so she begins the process of actually attacking Namor. Now, this fight is very important because it's Shuri fighting someone who's a powerhouse. She did in her last video against Morlan, but this is Namor. Namor is somebody in Marvel Comics who has been around for a very long time. He's a very capable fighter, and at first it does look like Shuri is able to hold her own against Namor with all the different technology that she has under her belt. But of course, this is Namor. Once he does reach the water, he's a whole completely different person. He comes out of the water and he begins to beat down on her instead. But while the two characters are fighting against each other, Doctor Doom is watching the fight, and Doctor Doom Allies, this new evil organization, is also watching the fight. And we do learn one of the members of this new evil organization is known as the Broker. But either way, they're watching this fight, and they're hoping that Namor or Shuri die. Heck, they're hoping that both of them die. But either way, this battle is getting very intense. Now we do pick up with T'Challa, and we see T'Challa with his Doorwar, and they just wrapped up a training session. But this is T'Challa kind of giving them a pep talk to tell them that what is going to happen down the road, which is going after Doctor Doom. And Doctor Doom is a fierce villain, a powerful villain. And the robots he have is also very powerful. And so with that being said, it's T'Challa telling the Doorwar, we need to be ready. We need to be fierce. We need to be strong warriors, because what we are about to face could change us as a person. But also, we're doing this for Wakanda. And so it's T'Challa trying to get everybody motivated to what to come down the road very soon. But things are getting worse in Wakanda. And what I mean is that we jump over to Storm, because remember, she is married to T'Challa. But right now you have Storm with some scientists trying to figure out what in the world is going on with the crops in Wakanda, because they're not growing. That's not natural at all. And so that is the moment you have some random people begin to attack the scientists that came with Storm. And Storm gets very angry because she's confused on why these people are attacking these innocent people who are trying to help the crops grow so that people in Wakanda can eat again. But at the same time, these people are the same kind of people who believe that Black Panther and Shuri and their family should leave, and Wakanda should go back to its old ways, that the new ways has hurt and changed Wakanda and made Wakanda bad. And so right now these people are trying to paint a picture that Storm, who's right now using her powers as a way to defend herself, and the scientists with her are actually bad people. Look at Storm using her powers on innocent people who are just upset and hungry. It's Doctor Doom and his new evil organization working together to paint a picture that Storm is an evil person, and how can she be a princess in Wakanda when she's attacking Wakanda people, and she's not even Wakandan at all. But getting back over to the battle between Shuri and Namor, we do come to find out that Namor won the battle, that he was able to actually defeat Shuri. Now that is the moment you actually have the Fantastic Four step in. And the reason why, because Reed Richards was able to realize that both Shuri and Namor have been played. They have been tricked. Somebody is trying to put them against each other to get them out of the way. But either way, it's someone else behind the scene pulling the strings. And we know who that person is. It's no other than Doctor Doom. And it seems like Reed Richards may have figured out what in the world is going on right now with Wakanda and Atlantis. And so you have Reed Richards explain that whoever is behind the scenes pulling the strings, their main goal was to make sure that Shuri does attack Namor. And so with that information being told right now, it's Mr. Fantastic telling Shuri, listen very carefully. Namor was framed so that you can go after him and basically kill him. But either way, Namor is an innocent man, because Namor and your brother are basically best friends. And so whoever is behind the strings, or behind the scenes, pulling the strings, they wanted you to go after Namor. And so they framed Namor to make you believe he was the one who attacked your brother. But in reality, it wasn't him. Now, with all that being said, you do have Reed Richards point out that he may know who it was, a character known as the Broker. And the Broker apparently is the one kind of helping Doctor Doom behind the scenes at the moment. And so now it's Shuri and Namor and the Fantastic Four about to go after the Broker. And so you have Doctor Doom call up the Broker to tell him that, listen, Shuri and her team are beginning to figure everything out, meaning that sooner or later they're going to come after you, Broker. And so you have the Broker say, don't worry, I'm ready for them. And that is the moment we see a bunch of C-list, D-list villains behind him getting ready to defend him against Shuri and Namor and the Fantastic Four. But getting into the final chapter of this story, we actually do pick up with the Fantastic Four, Shuri and Namor heading for Broker's Island, because they know where he is located at and they plan on finally taking him down. Now, with all that being said, you do have some people of the Fantastic Four kind of worried about them going up against the Broker, but this is Shuri reassuring them that they are ready and they can do it, and they will bring down the Broker for everything he has done. Now, with all that being said, they still don't know that Doctor Doom also has a hand in this. And so right now it's them believing that the Broker was the one behind all the different attacks that has been happening both in Volume 1 and Volume 2 as well. But getting back over to Wakanda, we actually pick up with Storm calling her husband T'Challa because she needs his help right now, because the people of Wakanda are asking for him and he has not come out and talked to them yet. But when she calls him up, he basically says that he is no longer their king and she is no longer their queen, that he is going to turn his back on his own people. Now, we know T'Challa has some secret plan up his sleeve if he's going to do this. But right now, it's him saying, I'm going to step away from protecting Wakanda. I am going to step away from being your husband. And that is the moment you have Storm get under arrest. And the reason why, because earlier she did attack those people who attacked the scientists who were trying to help Storm figure out what in the world is going on with the crops. But because she used her powers on what they believe were innocent people, she is now being under arrest, and she calls out for T'Challa, but it's T'Challa saying, hey, I'm sorry, I can't help you, and he hangs up the call. But getting back over to Shuri, Namor, and the Fantastic Four, we do see them flying over to Broker's Island. But while they're flying over to Broker's Island, well, that is the moment their jet gets attacked by one of the many villains that the Broker has hired. And he used this villain as a way to get rid of their jet. Now, while you have Shuri, the Fantastic Four, and Namor fighting against this villain and more to come down the road, you actually have Dr. Doom contact the Broker. And the Broker says, listen, they're here and they're going to figure out it was me and you. Now, you do have Dr. Doom basically asked the Broker to give him 1 hour, meaning that keep these characters busy for 1 hour. That's all he needs to complete his master plan. And the big question is now, what is Dr. Doom's master plan? But either way, that is the moment you have Dr. Doom tell us that he has spies everywhere, including Wakanda. And the spies just told him that T'Challa has left Wakanda. He has left Wakanda behind. He is no longer defending it. And on top of that right there, Storm has been under arrest. And so it's Dr. Doom realizing that his plan is coming together better than he thought it would. But getting back over to the battle between Shuri, the Fantastic Four, and Namor against all the villains that were hired by the Broker, this battle does get very intense. It's basically the Broker really trying to give Dr. Doom that 1 hour like he asked for. And he's trying everything he can to give Dr. Doom that 1 hour. But either way, the heroes are finding different ways to survive and finding different ways to actually fight back and win their battle against the forces of the Broker. But getting back over to Wakanda, we basically see that right now the people who were trying to remove T'Challa, remove Shuri, Storm, and the royal family have completed their goal because they make a big powerful speech that can be heard all across Wakanda, and it's them saying, listen, Wakanda has changed. Wakanda has fallen apart. Wakanda needs to go back to its old ways. So let our people move in and we can begin the process of actually making Wakanda better. And so things are falling apart for Wakanda. And here's the big thing though. This is the final chapter of this volume right here. So it seems like everything is going to end on a huge cliffhanger very soon. But things don't stop there when it comes to getting worse for Wakanda, because remember that evil organization was also working alongside with Dr. Doom. And so that is the moment you actually have Dr. Doom being able to walk into Wakanda thanks to a portal. But with him walking into Wakanda, we kind of find out what's the one thing he always wanted, which of course is vibranium, the one thing Wakanda is known for having, a very powerful type of metal. And it seems like Dr. Doom wants that for some very special reason. Now, to go ahead and wrap up this video, we actually do pick up with Namor, Shuri, and the Fantastic Four being able to actually defeat all the forces of the Broker, meaning that now they can move in and try to capture the Broker. The problem is though, when they try to go into his office to hopefully capture him and they think they see him, the Broker is able to escape once again, which means that right now the Broker will be seen down the road in later videos. But either way, that is the moment we come to find out after some time has passed by, T'Challa and Shuri have been working together this whole time. That T'Challa did tell Shuri everything what happened to him back in volume 1. But the reason why Shuri was pretending that she had no idea what in the world was going on because they both knew that Dr. Doom was watching them. And now Dr. Doom thinks that he has Shuri and T'Challa both on the run. But in reality, those two characters wanted him to think that, meaning that they're going to come back to Wakanda to stop him in the next storyline we could possibly cover called Doomwar. But this is where
okay, so we are going to do Doomwar. Now, Doomwar picks up where our last video left off at. And if you're wondering where you can watch the last video, don't worry, I'll put a link down below. Now, with that being said though,
everything we have been covering in our last 2 Black Panther videos lead up to this right here. Now remember, Doctor Doom has been working behind the scenes by funding a new organization that was hiding out in Wakanda. Their name is the Shuri. Now the Shuri, this group of Wakanda people, felt like with T'Challa as their king and Shuri as their princess/queen, they felt like Wakanda has lost its way. And so their goal was to remove those people so that Wakanda can go back to its old traditions. And so with Doctor Doom funding that group, they were able to attack Wakanda in different political ways. And with T'Challa kind of healing up after losing his battle against Doctor Doom, and with Shuri away from Wakanda dealing with problems in America, it made the people look at their king and their queen as bad people, because as their country suffered, T'Challa nor Shuri were trying to help their country out. Now, with all that being said, what's really messed up is T'Challa just ran away. He watched Wakanda basically fall apart left and right, but instead of being a king, he ran away. Now, he'll explain why he did that later on in this book. But then also Storm got arrested because Storm was trying to use her powers to figure out what in the world is going on with the crops, because crops were not growing. Now, while she was out there, she was trying to defend other farmers who were being attacked by other people. But when she used her powers against those bad people, it made her look like a bad person. And so right now, in the opening pages of this book, the whole world is watching the trial of Storm. And you have Storm pleading not guilty because she knows what is happening right now. Some new organization, which we know their names are the Shuri, is trying to take over Wakanda. And so with that, it's Storm saying, you may think you're going to win. Yay, I may have been charged as a guilty person, but don't worry. My husband, your king, he'll come back for his country sooner or later. Now, if you're wondering why in the world did Doctor Doom actually help fund this evil organization that took over Wakanda, because that is very strange for Doctor Doom. But in reality, for Doctor Doom, the reason why he did that so that he has nothing standing in his way when it comes to him trying to access the Great Mound. Now, the Great Mound is basically holding a high amount of vibranium. Now, vibranium is one of the rarest metal in Marvel Comics. With that being said though, most of it is right now in the Great Mound. And of course, it's locked away by a great system that was built by T'Challa. And so Doctor Doom is trying to access the Great Mound. But to get to it, he has to go through a door that has 10 different kinds of locks that were made by T'Challa. But then we jump over to the X-Men. Now, the reason why is for 2 different reasons. The first is that they were watching Storm on live television, because while Storm was on trial, the whole world was watching, because at this point, Storm was the queen of Wakanda. She was married to T'Challa. And so to see a queen of a great country be put on trial is huge. The whole world was watching her. But also because she is an X-Men, you had the X-Men watching her, wondering what in the world is going on in Wakanda, because at this point the X-Men were literally like a family. They look at Storm as a sister, and so to see her on trial and not have her husband by her side to actually defend her, it really makes the X-Men very angry. And the big question they have is, where in the world is T'Challa? Because remember, when Doctor Doom and the Shuri were taking over Wakanda, he just left. And he left Storm behind as well. And so the X-Men are very angry at T'Challa. But that is the moment you have Psylocke walk in and tell the X-Men that they have a visitor. But we do jump back over to Storm, because this is Marvel kind of answering the question, why doesn't Storm use her powers to escape? Because when she gets inside her cell basically cancels out her powers. So now she can't use her powers to escape. But if you're wondering why she did not try to escape before being put inside the jail cell, well, because the cuffs she had on also cancel out her powers, and so she had no powers this whole time. Now when she gets inside the cell, you do have one of the members of the story say, we think T'Challa made this cell just in case he had to lock you up, because what kind of cell has the ability to cancel out your mutant ability? But then we jump back over to the X-Men meeting up with T'Challa. Now, like I said earlier, the X-Men are angry at T'Challa because he left Storm by herself to defend herself when he knew that as a husband, as a man, he should be next to his wife. And so you had T'Challa say he had to choose his wife or his country. And of course, he says he had to choose his country. But then you have Marvel remind us about the broker. Now remember, the broker was kind of like another person working with Doctor Doom, kind of help him plan out this whole entire plan. And right now we see the broker is working on a special kind of project. And this special kind of project is a new version of the Doombots. Now remember, Doombots are really just Doctor Doom, but they're robots that believe that they are Doctor Doom. And so when they're sent out in the world, they really believe that they are actually Doctor Doom. But in reality, they're just robots. But this new version is going to be very special and powerful. Now, getting back to the meeting between Black Panther and the X-Men want Black Panther to explain himself because they want to know, how could you leave your queen behind? How could you leave your wife behind? And you have T'Challa say he had no choice, because he knew about the story, that organization that was trying to remove Black Panther from power. He knew about them, but it's T'Challa saying they're so good in staying hidden, he had a hard time finding a single member. Matter of fact, he couldn't find a single member. And so with that being said, T'Challa said, listen, if I had stayed with my country, trying to defend my position, trying to defend my country, to help save my country, it'll be like fighting against an invisible wave, a wave of water that is heading towards your country. But the problem is though, it is invisible, so you have no idea which angle is coming from. But even if you do see it, can you actually stop a wave before it crashes into your country? Most times you can't. And so it's Black Panther saying, with him running away with his sister, now the story is out in the open. And so now he can attack them, take back his country, stop Doctor Doom, and stop this story. But then you have Emma Frost as T'Challa. Why is Doctor Doom trying to take over Wakanda? What does he want in Wakanda? And that is the moment you have T'Challa say that Doctor Doom wants vibranium. Now, we already knew that, but you didn't have T'Challa say the reason why Doctor Doom wants it so bad, because yes, we know vibranium can be used to make great weapons, great technology, but also it can enhance somebody's magical abilities. The problem is though, when it comes to Black Panther and the people of Wakanda, they never found the way to use vibranium as a way to enhance someone's magic abilities. But someone like Doctor Doom could easily figure that out in a matter of seconds, or minutes, or hours. But then we jump back over to Storm, because right now we pick up with Storm trying to break out of her cell. Now, this is Marvel reminding us, when it comes to Storm, when she was younger, she was a thief. And so she is trying to use her skills to break out of her cell. But of course, she is caught by Doctor Doom. But Doctor Doom wants to use her for a very special reason. But getting back over to the meeting between the X-Men and Black Panther, this is the moment you have Black Panther ask Cyclops for help. Can Black Panther use some of the members of the X-Men? Now you have Cyclops really say no. And the reason why, because at this point, this is when the X-Men had Utopia, a brand new nation in the world. And so it's Cyclops saying, listen, we just got this island. We just became our own nation. The problem is though, if we go attack Wakanda, it will make mutants look bad. Because right now, the mutants just got their own nation. And now they're going out there starting wars with smaller countries. And then sooner or later, they're going to move up the chain to bigger countries. And so it's Cyclops trying to avoid all of that. But when Black Panther walks out to his jet, he comes to find out there are some members of the X-Men that are going to go with him to help him save Storm and also take back Wakanda. Now, why these X-Men are going is because it's Cyclops saying, I can't go. Emma Frost can't go, because right now we are the faces of this new nation. And so if they see us, it'll make us look bad. But if we send in those guys, we'll be okay. So go take back Wakanda. Go stop Doctor Doom, but especially go save Storm. Getting back over to Doctor Doom, we do learn why he wanted Storm for. Because with Storm having the ability to kind of be a thief, which means that she is able to unlock a lot of locks, there's a lock that right now Doctor Doom can't get through. And so it is him saying, listen, Storm, you need to use your skills as a thief to unlock that lock for me. But of course, if you don't do that, I will kill different family members of T'Challa and Shuri every minute or two. So you have a choice. You can help me and pick that lock, or you can watch the whole entire family of your husband die one by one. Now, we do jump back over to Shuri, T'Challa, and the X-Men right now planning out their attack. How are they going to take back Wakanda? Now, of course, when it comes to T'Challa and the X-Men, they're more like heroes. Their goal is to go into Wakanda, but not spill any kind of blood. But when it comes to Shuri, she's realistic here. She's kind of like, listen, we're about to attack our country, and we know that our country is one of the most powerful countries in the world. We have great weapons, advanced weapons, and so you cannot expect us to go into that country, fight against our army, the Shuri, and also Doctor Doom without spilling any kind of blood. No, there is going to be some blood spill, but when that blood spill, of course, it's all for us to save Wakanda. That is our main goal right there. But getting back over to the Shuri, now with them being in charge of Wakanda, they thought that with them taking over, everything is going to be easy. But the people of Wakanda, they really want their king back. They want their queen back. But on top of that, they're now hoping that the Shuri can handle the problems that they have made. And so right now it's them kind of like, we made a lot of problems for this country, so we can take it over. But now we have to fix the problems that we have made. And those problems can't be fixed so easily. On top of that, these people do not want to go back to our old traditions. And so right now, it's the story kind of wondering, how in the world can we fix all of our problems? But getting back over to Doctor Doom and Storm, we do see Storm still trying to work very hard to unlock the 9th lock to the Great Mound. Now, with that being said, because she is taking so much time, you do have Doctor Doom continue to kill off different members of T'Challa's family. But right when it seems like he's about to kill T'Challa's and Shuri's mother, that is when she's able to unlock the 9th lock. But there is still one more lock that Dr. Doom must unlock if he wants to get vibranium. Now, we do pick up with Shuri, T'Challa, and the X-Men and their army arriving at the border of Wakanda. Now, this is a very crucial moment because when they do arrive, you do have T'Challa basically say, hey, listen, the people of Wakanda who wants me back as their king, who wants to get rid of these bad people, I need you to stand up. Now, Desturi, you may be this powerful organization, but this is my one and final warning. To surrender before we come in there and take everything you have built in this short period of time and we break it down. Now, this is T'Challa hoping to have a peaceful treaty, hoping that Desturi will just go ahead and give up. But if they do fight, hopefully no one dies. But when it comes to Shuri, Shuri's all like, no, we're about to fight against a powerful nation, a powerful organization, and a powerful villain known as Dr. Doom. We cannot expect us to go in this battle without spilling any kind of blood. But we want to make sure that the people know that we are serious, that we are here to take over or take back Wakanda. And so you have Shuri kill one of the members of the Desturis to show all of Wakanda that she is serious about taking back what belongs to her family, which is Wakanda. And so when we get into the second chapter of this book, we actually do pick up where you have Black Panther, Shuri, and the X-Men fighting against the army of the Desturi and some members of the Wakandan army. And so the battle does last for a couple pages, but then you have T'Challa as Nightcrawler to teleport him into the room where Dr. Doom is at. But when Nightcrawler tries to teleport down there, he is sent right back where he was, meaning that Dr. Doom was able to put some kind of barrier around the room to keep Black Panther, Shuri, and the X-Men out of for the time being. But getting back over to Dr. Doom, right now you have Dr. Doom angry at Storm. And the reason why? Because Storm is unable to unlock the final lock to the Great Mound. Because that lock is not your usual lock. It's a magical lock. And so with that being said, it's Dr. Doom realizing he needs to find a different way around that last and final lock. But getting back to the big battle that's happening right now in Wakanda, you have Shuri, T'Challa, the X-Men, and even the Doorwar fighting against the Wakandan army. Now remember, when it comes to the Doorwar, they usually fight alongside their king or queen. Their main goal is to protect the king or queen. They are the great warriors of Wakanda. But of course, they have left Wakanda to help T'Challa and Shuri out, because to the Doorwar, T'Challa and Shuri are the real king and princess of Wakanda, not this new group who came in here and took over in a very political way. And so right now you have the Doorwar fighting alongside the X-Men, fighting alongside Shuri, fighting alongside T'Challa. They're trying their best to take over Wakanda once again. But getting back over to Dr. Doom is right now inspecting the last lock, trying to figure out how to get around it. Now, we have no idea what is the final lock just yet, but we will here in a few minutes. But either way, though, you do have Storm say that T'Challa, the Black Panther, will stop Dr. Doom. But you have Dr. Doom say he will fail, like he always has. This whole time, he has been trying to fight me, trying to find different ways to stop me. But every single step that he has taken led him down the path of a failure. And here he is right now in a big war against me. And let me tell you this, Storm. It's not about who wins the battle, it's about who wins the war. So even if T'Challa finds a way to stop me today or win this battle right here, I still have the ability to win the war. And let me tell you now, T'Challa will fail at the end of this war. Now, real quick, I do want to jump back over to the great battle that's happening right now in Wakanda, because right now you have Shuri reminding us that she is more violent than her brother. Now, in the earlier chapter, it seemed like Shuri was just being more realistic. Like she knows that this great war is going to have some people dying, which of course makes sense. But then right now, we see her just killing people even when they stand down. Nightcrawler gets very upset by this. But this is Shuri saying, listen, these men betrayed their country. They betrayed Wakanda. When they decide to turn their back on us and join the Shuri to help the Shuri take over our country, they are now traitors, which means they can die. And so with that, it's Marvel saying, Shuri is more violent, but Shuri is somebody who is going to handle all these different kinds of situations in the best way she can. But then we learn what is the final lock that is keeping Doctor Doom out of the Great Mound. And that is the moment we come to find out the final lock says that only someone who has pure purity can walk through the door. And with Doctor Doom, he's not purity at all. This man is straight up evil. He is straight up crazy. He has so many evil ideas in his mind that right then and there's no way he'll be able to walk through the last lock. And so it's Doctor Doom thinking, how can he get around this last and final lock? But getting back over to Shuri, you do have Shuri kind of get into an argument with Nightcrawler. And basically, it's Nightcrawler being very upset with the idea of Shuri killing off people who have betrayed her country. Because the Nightcrawler, he's kind of like, you're their queen or you're their princess, and here you are killing people. What is wrong with you? Do you want to be known as somebody who is okay with bloodshed? Are you okay with being known as the princess who has killed hundreds of people just because they betrayed their country? You could have brought them back to your side. But then you have Shuri say, you do not understand our culture though, Nightcrawler. We are a small country that has always defended itself in different kinds of ways because we have always been under attack. And with that being said, we always had to be aggressive. And so with these guys betraying their country, helping out the Shuri to take over our country, we had no choice but to go ahead and kill them. To continue the idea that we have always been a force to reckon with. Nobody is going to stop us. And after she says that, she tells her brother, hey bro, go ahead and go down to the room to finally stop Doctor Doom. Finally stop him, save Storm, and we can end this crazy war between him. But when T'Challa enters into the room to face Doctor Doom, you do have Doctor Doom give T'Challa an ultimatum. He must choose between two things, Storm, his wife, or the vibranium in the Great Mound. Now, you do have Doctor Doom count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but T'Challa, he doesn't move because he knows that Doctor Doom is not going to kill Storm right then and there. But of course, you do have T'Challa not realize that Doctor Doom was able to get through the last and final lock. He was able to show that lock that he has purity. And so with that, Doctor Doom was able to get every single ounce of the vibranium, which is very huge. And so with that, now it's T'Challa trying to figure out how in the world did Doctor Doom get through the last lock. And now, how can they stop Doctor Doom? Because he just teleports away after getting every single ounce of the vibranium. But of course, now it's T'Challa. He must chase down Doctor Doom. But then we jump into the third chapter. Now, with the third chapter, the first few pages are really a review on how we got to Doomwar and also what has happened so far in Doomwar to kind of help people who may jump right in the middle of the storyline or to help people who have been reading a lot of Black Panther content and may forgot how we got to this point so far. But
The reason why we're having this review as well is because it's T'Challa telling someone this story. And this somebody he's hoping could possibly help them stop Doctor Doom. And that one person, well, really, that one team is the Fantastic Four. Because remember, when it comes to Doctor Doom, the Fantastic Four is usually this person Doctor Doom fights against the most. And of course, there is a rivalry between Doctor Doom and Reed Richards. And so this is T'Challa asking for the help of the Fantastic Four. But at the same time, you still have T'Challa wondering, how in the world did Doctor Doom get through the last and final lock? A lock where he must have pure purity to walk through it. Now, this is part of the story where you really have the book kind of jump all over the place. So hopefully I can keep you guys on track with us jumping around to make sure we get all the information we need to move on. But with that being said, though, we actually jump back 6 hours ago where we pick up with Doctor Doom facing the final lock. And this is the book showing us how in the world Doctor Doom was able to get through the last lock. And so what he does is he takes off every single piece of armor to the point where he is just basically naked. But of course, with that being said, he is teleported away to be judged to see if he does have pure purity. But then we jump over to Shuri and Ben Grimm. And right now we see these two characters talking to some soldiers that work for Shuri. Now these soldiers are telling Shuri, hey, listen, we were able to talk to the prisoners and get some more information out of them. We were able to figure out where we can find more members of the Dasturi group and possibly mean we can hopefully shut down their group once we go to these different locations. But then you have Shuri wonder, what is Doctor Doom going to do with every single ounce of the vibranium? And you have Shuri tell Ben Grimm that her brother T'Challa thinks that Doctor Doom is going to use the vibranium as a way to upgrade his Doombots, but to also upgrade his own armor to make the vibranium upgrade his magical powers as well. But then we pick up with Doctor Doom in the present day, where we see him right now meeting up with the broker. Now remember, the broker is kind of like this planner for Doctor Doom. He's able to help Doctor Doom plan different things out left and right. But also the broker is very good at financing Doctor Doom's money. And with that being said, you have the broker tell Doctor Doom, you have to know that sooner or later, T'Challa is gonna come after you. And when he does, it's going to cost you a lot of money to just stop him or to just keep him busy. Are you ready to lose all that money? And for Doctor Doom, he's kind of like, yes, go ahead and use all my money you can. But my goal is almost in reach, so I do not care about my money at all. But going back in the past once again, you still have T'Challa and Storm still trying to figure out how in the world was Doctor Doom able to get through that last lock? Because again, that last lock said you must have pure purity to get through this last and final lock. And so with that, Storm told T'Challa, I watched Doctor Doom. He took off every single piece of his armor and then he was teleported away. And now we come to find out where he was teleported to. He was teleported to Bast, the Panther God's world. Because remember, Bast is the Panther God, and Bast is the one who usually picks if someone is able to become the Black Panther. But I guess T'Challa also put that lock on there to have Bast decide if someone has pure purity. And so with that, Doctor Doom was teleported right in front of Bast the Panther God. Now here comes the big thing though. If you're being judged by Bast the Panther God and you failed Bast's test, you will die. Meaning that if you fail, you die. Just like that.
And Doctor Doom knows that. But Doctor Doom thinks that he is able to show Bast that he deserves to get through that last and final lock to get to the Great Mound, to get every single ounce of the vibranium. And we know he was able to convince Bast, the Panther God, to let him through. But the big question is, though, how was he able to convince the Panther God that he was not pure evil? But then we get this moment that's really for Storm. What I mean is this right here. In the present day, you have T'Challa and Storm still in the room trying to figure out how in the world Doctor Doom was able to get through the last lock. But then you have a soldier run in and tell T'Challa, hey man, listen, there's a strike team outside. And this strike team, they work for, of course, the Shuri. And right now they're trying to take over the palace once again. And so you have Storm say, listen, I'll take care of it. Because this is Storm telling the world that one, she is back. And two, she is Queen of Wakanda once again. And three, you do not want to mess with Storm when she is angry. And so she goes out there and takes out the entire strike team with her powers. And it's kind of like, yeah, Storm is back, y'all. Storm is back. But then we jump back in the past once again, where we pick up with Doctor Doom still trying to convince the Panther God that he is not completely evil. Now, with that being said, though, as soon as you enter into the world of the Panther God, Bast is able to see all your past crimes. And so with that, you have Bast say, I've seen all your past crimes. You can't tell me all that death, all that blood that was spilled, everything bad that you have done. You cannot tell me that you actually think I'm going to let you pass through the last and final lock. But then you have Doctor Doom say, what makes me different from the Black Panthers that you have chosen over the years to protect Wakanda? Because they have also killed. They have also spilled blood. They have also done some bad things. But those things they done was to protect their country, to make their country better. And this is Doctor Doom saying he is no different than Black Panther or the past Black Panthers that the Panther God has chosen. That in reality, he is very similar to them. But then we have to jump back into the present day. And the reason why, because we pick up with Reed Richards and T'Challa right now talking to one another. Because Reed is surprised in what T'Challa has made. T'Challa has made a vibranium tracker, and with that tracker, he'll be able to locate different locations of vibranium. And he's hoping that with this tracker, he can find the location on where Doctor Doom is hiding the vibranium, but to also find Doctor Doom as well. But then we jump in the past once again, where we pick up with Doctor Doom right now talking to Bast, the Panther God. And this is the moment where you see Doctor Doom able to convince Bast, the Panther God, to let him pass the test. Because you have Doctor Doom say, what makes me different from all the past kings and queens and presidents and great leaders of past nations? Because they all have done bad things to keep their nation alive, to keep their nation protected. And so when you tell me that I'm a madman, I'm a crazy man, look at the nation I have now, Latveria. It's a great nation, even though I have done some bad things. I have killed some people, but my nation is protected and my nation is thriving. And so how dare you say I'm different? Because look at the Black Panthers that you have chosen. T'Challa and the past ones, because they all have done some bad things. They have killed, they have spilled blood, they have done a lot of bad things to protect Wakanda, to make sure Wakanda can still live on. And so again, what makes me different from them? Because are you going off the mind of the people right now on Earth who look at me as a madman, who looks at me as some crazy person? I will admit, I have done some more aggressive things than other kings or queens or even presidents have done but I'm doing all these great things to actually help the Earth out. And so you then have Dr. Doom say, listen, I have seen so many different possible futures, but only in one future where the world is completely safe. There's no more hungry people. There's no more diseases. There's no more problems across the world. And the reason why in that one singular possible future is because I rule the entire planet. It becomes a doom world. And that is the only way the Earth will be saved from any kind of problems down the road. And so you can't tell me that I'm different from the Black Panthers, the kings and queens and the presidents, because what I'm trying to do is to make the Earth better, to protect my people, to protect the humans from any possible threat to come down the road. But getting back into the present day, we do pick up with our heroes right now discussing what should their next move be. Because right now, with T'Challa's vibranium tracker, he was able to find 16 different locations that are owned by Dr. Doom and of course the broker as well. And matter of fact, T'Challa now knows that Dr. Doom is working with the broker. Now with all that information said and stuff, of course you didn't have T'Challa say a huge amount of the vibranium is here in this one location on an eastern island, which could mean that Dr. Doom could be there or not be there. But either way, let's send in a team to basically go there and to hopefully find Dr. Doom and stop him. And so with that being said, you do have that team go out there. But when they get out there, they are greeted by an army of new creations made by Dr. Doom and the broker. It's basically now getting into the actual Doomwar storyline. But when we jump into the 4th chapter of this book, let me just say the first few pages of this chapter is really more of our heroes fighting against the new version of the Doombots and other creations that Dr. Doom and the broker has made with the vibranium to basically take the heroes on. Now, you do have the broker say, hey, Dr. Doom, man, listen, your new creations, your new Doombots are doing great things against those heroes. The heroes might possibly die against your new robots and your new Doombots. But you have Dr. Doom say, I don't care. As long as the Doombots and even my new creations keep those heroes busy or not, as long as I have enough time to complete my goal, I don't care what happens with those Doombots or my new creations. Heck, they could go ahead and kill those heroes off. I wouldn't care because I'm so close to my actual goal. My lifetime goal is almost in reach. I don't care about anything else. So hopefully the heroes do die, but either way, who cares what happens to my new Doombots? Now, with that being said though, the heroes, they are struggling. They're getting their butt kicked until you have Shuri actually give over to the rest of the heroes a new kind of weapons, vibranium weapons, to kind of give them the edge against all those new vibranium robots that Dr. Doom has made. And so, like I said earlier, we are basically in the Doom War right now. It's T'Challa fighting against Dr. Doom. It's T'Challa trying to find Dr. Doom, and he's hoping that he can find Dr. Doom very soon. Now, after that big battle, we do have our heroes right now regrouping in one of their bases. Now, with that being said, they were unable to get Dr. Doom or the broker. And so with that big battle they had was only them fighting against some robots, but that was really it. Now, once our heroes regroup, you do have our heroes say that they are very worried. And the reason why? Because the new Doombots were powerful, but they were able to kind of give Dr. Doom and the broker intel on every single weapon our heroes are using and how our heroes fight. And with that intel, now Dr. Doom and the broker can take that intel and make a better version of Doombots
in other creations to adapt to our heroes, to make sure they have more ways to get rid of our heroes. And so with that being said, it's our heroes now saying we need to attack all his bases at once, because if we don't, that intel could literally help him take us out down the road. Now you do have our heroes actually go out there and attack all the different factories that belong to Doctor Doom and the Broker. Now, with that being said though, you do have Doctor Doom say something very important. He said these attacks, they're not T'Challa attacks. These are Shuri attacks. And the reason why he says that is because of this reason right here. Because with T'Challa and Reed Richards, they're planning for things to go bad in a month or in a weeks. But this is Shuri, who already knows that Doomsday is coming tomorrow or later this day. And so with that, is Shuri kind of playing the right move? Why are we trying to give Doctor Doom the time he needs to complete his goal when he is one of the smartest minds in the world? In reality, we should attack him right now and cut off all the time he can have to hopefully stop him. But then we jump over to Shuri and Storm. And the reason why, because Shuri and Storm are kind of like the two leaders who are leading most of the groups who are attacking the different factories that belong to Doctor Doom and also the Broker. Now, with that being said though, you have T'Challa and Reed staying at the base so that they can think of different ways on how to find Doctor Doom, how to stop Doctor Doom, and to hopefully save the entire world. Now, with all that being said though, Shuri and Storm, they're struggling out there. You do have the other members of the Fantastic Four out there as well, but still, it's Doctor Doom and the Broker with an army full of robots going up against the Fantastic Four, Shuri, T'Challa, and maybe a few members of the Dora Milajes. Right now, our heroes are at a losing advantage. And so you do have Shuri tell T'Challa the struggles they're having right now fighting against the armies of Doctor Doom. And of course, this makes T'Challa very angry because T'Challa and Reed should be able to put their minds together to find a way to stop Doctor Doom, but they can't. And so their problem is right now is kind of like, what can we do? And so that is the moment you have T'Challa say, okay, I do have a couple ideas. And one of them is something called shadow physics. Now, shadow physics is the combination of Wakanda technology, vibranium, and also using magic as well. It's a whole new thing that quickly comes and goes in Marvel Comics. And honestly, it was a very weird idea. But either way, though, it's Reed saying, listen, we do not know much about shadow physics. So how can the world do you think we could use shadow physics as a way to stop Doctor Doom? But this is T'Challa just trying to use anything he can to hopefully find a way to stop Doctor Doom. So as the pages goes on, we continue to see our heroes fighting against the army of Doctor Doom. They're trying to survive. They're trying to win. But Doctor Doom is winning this war. And this is why Doomwar is so amazing, because it's pushing T'Challa, it's pushing Reed and Shuri and the rest of the Fantastic Four in a corner. They have to think of different ways to possibly win this battle. But right now, they don't have anything left. With Reed being scared to use shadow physics and our heroes getting their butt kicked, it's kind of like, what do our heroes have left? What can they do? But of course, T'Challa always has another plan up his sleeve. But this plan is very different though. And what I mean by different is, well, we do go over to Latveria, the southern border of Latveria. And the reason why? Because we come to find out what is the X factor that Black Panther has brought in. And that X factor is no other than Deadpool. Deadpool is here to hopefully change the war into Black Panther's favor. And so when we jump into the 5th issue of this series, you do have Shuri give an update to T'Challa and Reed Richards. And she tells them these battles,
is becoming very costly because they have lost a lot of people over the short period of time. And so with that is Shuri saying, we can't keep doing this. We can't keep going to all of his different factories and thinking that we're going to stop him there. We need to find a new plan, and that new plan needs to come now. We need to find Doctor Doom to finally end this before we lose every single person from our country, to stop this one singular madman. But then we see another meeting going on between Doctor Doom and also the broker. And this meeting right here is really more of the broker telling Doctor Doom, hey man, listen to me real quick. Like, what you're doing right now is great and all, but like, you're hurting your finances. You're hurting your chance to actually recover just in case you fail. But for Doctor Doom, he really believes that he is not going to fail. He believes that he is actually going to be able to continue on. He'll finally reach his lifetime goal. And so with that being said, is Doctor Doom telling the broker again, I do not care about anything except actually completing my lifetime goal. Now, we do see a meeting going on with T'Challa and also Reed Richards. Now, with this meeting, they're also meeting up with Deadpool. Now, remember, Deadpool is supposed to be T'Challa's X Factor to help him win this war. And so with that being said, you're probably wondering, how in the world is Deadpool an X Factor? Well, let me explain, because you actually have T'Challa reintroduce the shadow physics once again. Because remember, shadow physics is a new kind of science that Black Panther has introduced to us in this storyline. Well, really in earlier books, but either way though, of course, that is the moment you basically have T'Challa also introduce the Nowhere Room. Now, the Nowhere Room gives someone the ability to find someone or something when they put their mind to it. Now, with that being said though, the reason why Deadpool must be the one to do it is because when you enter into the room, your mind could go mad. It can make anybody go mad, anybody go crazy. But when it comes to Deadpool, he is already crazy. And so to T'Challa, this is the best option, because then they can send Deadpool in there to find Doctor Doom and to hopefully stop this entire war. Because once Deadpool put his mind to work on finding Doctor Doom inside the Nowhere Room, he'll be teleported right to where Doctor Doom is at. But also, we begin to see the downfall of Doctor Doom. What I mean is this right here, because you do have a random tech guy tell Shuri some good news. One of the good news he has to tell her is that he was able to hack into the accounts of Doctor Doom. And with that, he can basically send all the money of Doctor Doom to different charities across the world, meaning that he's taking all of the money away from Doctor Doom. But with him doing that, that also means that now Doctor Doom does not have the funds to actually keep this war going. And so sooner or later, Doctor Doom is gonna have to quit because he has no money to basically fund this war, to keep his robots going, to pay the broker as well. Now, you also have Reed Richards bringing in another person to help out with this war. Because to Reed, what he's worried about right now is basically this becoming a global war, a World War III. And he does not want that at all. And so the person he calls in is War Machine, because he's hoping that with War Machine being there, he can kind of bring some faith back into T'Challa, to have T'Challa beginning to think straight. Because right now T'Challa is not thinking straight. He's basically doing all these different things left and right that could hurt his country or hurt his wife or even hurt himself and his people. And so this is Reed saying, to avoid a possible global war, I am going to call in the War Machine. And hopefully War Machine will be able to bring faith back into T'Challa.
Now, you do have the storyline jump over to some members of the Fantastic Four who are going to a certain location to hopefully find Doctor Doom. Of course, they don't, because when they get there, they run into more robots who begin the process of actually attacking them. Now, with these members of the Fantastic Four, they do get very lucky. And what I mean by lucky is that you do have War Machine come in to kind of help them clean up the mess. And so now War Machine is with the rest of the heroes trying to figure out a way to actually stop Doctor Doom. But getting back over to Deadpool, let's not forget that Deadpool is using the Nowhere Room. And remember, the Nowhere Room has the ability to send anyone anywhere in the world if they put their mind to it. But here comes the big problem though. With the Nowhere Room, as soon as you enter, the process of using it is too much for a regular person. You begin to go mad. You begin to go crazy. Now, with that being said though, Deadpool is already crazy. He is already mad. And so with those things being said, it's basically Deadpool being the perfect candidate to go ahead and use the Nowhere Room so that he can be teleported to where Doctor Doom is at. Now, with that being said though, Reed Richards and T'Challa, they made sure to use a tracker on Deadpool. So as soon as he arrives near Doctor Doom, they know where to go. And that right there is very important to say, because as soon as Deadpool is able to leave the Nowhere Room, he does arrive right next to Doctor Doom. And so now our heroes know where Doctor Doom was hiding at. But the problem is though, they're too late. Doctor Doom was able to use the vibranium as a way to power himself up. Because remember, Doctor Doom was taking it to find a way to use vibranium to kind of make his magical powers even stronger. And right now, he has. And so you now have a Doctor Doom that is way too overpowered. Now, when we get into the final chapter of this book, we actually do pick up with Doctor Doom, what it seems like he has won the war, because T'Challa is on the ground. Doctor Doom is standing over him. Doctor Doom seems like he has won the great battle, and that is huge. But the problem is though, how did we get to this point right here? So we do jump back 12 hours ago, where we do have another meeting, except this time it's Reed Richards, T'Challa, Shuri, and Iron Man. Now, the reason why Iron Man is there now because Iron Man found out that T'Challa has used Deadpool as a way to find Doctor Doom. Now, you do have T'Challa tell his sister, hey sis, I was able to find Doctor Doom and we should totally head there right now. But then you have Shuri say, if we go to Latveria, we'll seem like we're going to war with Latveria. And we're trying to avoid that, a whole global incident. But of course, you didn't have T'Challa say, do not worry, because I have sent in the Midnight Angels. And the Midnight Angels look like they have no ties to anyone at all. So no one's going to know that they are connected to us. Now for Shuri, she's upset because again, right now, technically, she is in charge of Wakanda. And so every choice should go through her. But it is T'Challa making moves without asking his sister, at the same time making moves which he thinks are the correct moves, but could possibly hurt them down the road. Now, you do have Doctor Doom basically putting on his new armor. And with him putting on his new armor, that means that he is getting stronger and stronger. And so sooner or later, he is going to begin the process of wreaking havoc across the world. Now, with that being said though, Deadpool is there. He is kind of cut up and badly injured, but of course he does have a healing factor. Now, with that being said though, right now you do have Deadpool having a camera somewhere placed on his body to give T'Challa and also Reed Richards the ability to see what is happening right now. And so with that being said, everyone is realizing Doctor Doom is about to be very, very overpowered. And so with that, they need to regroup right now to the Deadpool location to finally stop Doctor Doom. This has to end now, because if we don't, it is going to be the end of the earth. And so while you have every single team trying to head back to the location of their secret base, you have Doctor Doom just getting stronger and stronger. And now we're about to get into the big part of the Doom War. Now, I do want to mention one more thing. There are ley lines across the world. Now, these ley lines cannot be seen, but these ley lines do give Dr. Doom the ability to be connected to every single piece of vibranium. Because remember what I said earlier, Black Panther and Wakanda only had most of the vibranium. There's still other kinds of vibranium across the world. And right now, Dr. Doom is connected to every single one of them, making him even more powerful. Now, getting back over to T'Challa, you do have T'Challa call up some members of the hero community that he knows. And this is really more of T'Challa asking for more help. But the problem is, though, you have everyone say, no, we cannot help because we have ties to America, meaning that if we step in, that could possibly mean that we are looking like America is attacking Latveria. And so we're trying to avoid any kind of any political problem or any kind of global problem that you are doing right now going against Latveria as you represent Wakanda. And so right now, all we can do is just stay in our country and defend ourselves if you fail to stop Dr. Doom. But if you want to stop Dr. Doom, then you need to do whatever you can to actually stop him. Now, we do jump right before the present moment. And what I mean is this right here. We actually do pick up with all our heroes, including Deadpool, right now fighting against Dr. Doom. Because once again, with Deadpool having a locator on him, you had all the heroes who were working with T'Challa, including T'Challa and Reed Richards, going to Dr. Doom's location, which means that right now, we're in the final battle, the big hoorah, the grand battle of all battles for this storyline. But with that being said, though, you do have Dr. Doom just kicking everybody's butt. Left and right. They come towards him, he sends them flying. They try this, he stops that. Like literally, they can't do nothing at all. And so it leads us right into the present moment of the 6th issue, where we saw Dr. Doom standing over Black Panther because now he has failed. Black Panther has lost this battle to Dr. Doom. But T'Challa has one more thing left up his sleeve. Now, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. And the reason why is because you didn't have T'Challa introduce a device. Now, this device is also connected to the ley lines of the vibranium. Now, with that being said, though, you have T'Challa say, listen, with my device having all connections to the ley lines across the world that are connected to every single piece of vibranium, with my device, I can make every piece of vibranium become useless. That right there is very huge because there is vibranium on Dr. Doom. And so if T'Challa does that, that means the vibranium Dr. Doom has right now will also become useless, which means that it will depower Dr. Doom and end this war. But on top of that right there, you have to realize for T'Challa, when it comes to Wakanda, they get most of their money from vibranium. And so now, with them losing vibranium, it could technically hurt his country a whole lot. But this is T'Challa saying, I have no choice. To save my country, to save the world, I have to do this right here. As a king, as a warrior, we must always do what we believe is the right thing to do to help save our world. And so with a click of his button, he was able to make every single piece of vibranium basically useless. And Doom War ends just like that, with Dr. Doom being defeated and our heroes able to win the battle. But with that being said, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But later, guys, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.